Ms. Stauch introduced a vampire called Justice. She said that there was a button in her cell that she could summon Justice Jasper.
Class is in session. Today we're going to talk about the Letecia Stauch case and go over day number 15 trial recap. Dr. Jackie Grimmett, a forensic psychologist, testified to a competency evaluation she performed on Letecia in December 2020 for the purpose of determining whether she had a mental disability. Grimmett said that Stauch had an understanding of the proceedings and was able to assist in her defense. The first competency evaluation found that Letecia did not have a mental disability. Grimmett said that she found Stauch to be very verbose and that Letecia told her a story about vampires visiting her in her jail cell, but admitted she got the names from vampires from the Twilight series. Grimmett testified that she felt that Letecia was feigning some of her symptoms and that she had traits of borderline personality disorder and narcissistic personality but didn't meet the threshold for either diagnosis. Under cross-examination, Grimmett was asked whether Letecia could have delusions prompted by PTSD. Dr. Leandra Torres, a forensic psychologist, testified that she conducted Letecia's first competency evaluation as well as a sanity evaluation in 2022. Torres said that Letecia's story changed between the evaluations she administered. In 2020, Letecia said she began to be molested at 12 years old, but said the molestation began at 9 in 2022. In August 2020, Letecia denied having any inpatient treatment for mental health issues. Then, in December 2020, said she had received treatment in Canada, and in March 2022 repeated the story about Canada. Torres said that Letecia was diagnosed with a personality disorder with borderline and narcissistic features in August 2020. The jury was shown clips of Letecia's 2022 sanity evaluation. The ending of day 15, the judge just went over some things with Letecia about if she would like to testify.
Entirely yours and yours alone.
Video of that.
Yes.
Do you fully understand this advisement?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything further you wish for me to explain to you concerning your right to testify or not testify?
No, sir.
I've given you this advisement because it's required under the law before you make a decision regarding whether you choose to testify or not. I'm not going to ask you about that now. You're entitled to see all of the evidence that's been brought against you by the prosecution. So we need to finish with their case first, but I also understand that we may be getting towards the end of that either by the end of this week or maybe the beginning of next week. So I want to give you some time to think about it. I want to give you some time to talk to your attorneys about it. There's a lot of evidence in this case. There are a lot of things that you may need to consider before you make that decision. At some point, however, I will ask you the ultimate question. What is your decision? You don't need to tell me now, but I want you to think about that because at some point I'm going to ask you that question. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
What was that all about?
She said that she was talking to a vampire and then resumed conversation with me.
Did you talk to Ms. Stauch about her experience with vampires during your forensic interview?
I did.
Tell the jury about that.
Ms. Stauch introduced a vampire called Justice. She said that there was a button in her cell that she could summon Justice, Jasper, perhaps Patrick, if I remember correctly. She said she had been introduced to vampires when she lived in Alaska previously, and they used to go door to door like Jehovah's Witnesses. And she didn't really offer them in any kind of meaningful way, like wasn't explaining anything or trying to use that information necessarily, but she certainly referenced them throughout the interview.
Did she tell you where she got these names for these so-called vampires she's talking about?
She directed me to the movie Twilight.
And did you find out that these names